All right, Stefan. So it's 4 minutes after 8 a.m. in the morning in California. We got some people from California online. I'm very proud of them. Um, and it's 5 p.m. in Antwerp. And Stefan from AeyeQ is here to give us an introduction to the AeyeQ Carrier Board for the NVIDIA Jetson. And Stefan, if you'd like to introduce yourself and
yeah, perfect.
In the presentation, we are all eager to hear.
Yes, thank you, Tony. I'm very glad for your invite. I'm very glad we can share this information with the rest of the world. So, I am Stefan. I'm creator of AeyeQ, but we are part of another company called iOS Sensory Intelligence. So we are part of many projects. AeyeQ is a brand to make sure that we can connect deep learning to the world. So a lot of times we hear, yeah, we want to do this. We tried, we failed, and yeah, that's it. So we want to make sure that people can go to that next step a little bit easier. So we can dream, we can imagine, and we can do new fun topics. So basically, we created a board that can make you make that step more easy. That board is simply a carrier board for an NVIDIA Jetson. We added a lot of things that we can use in the security business. So first of all, when you integrate your Jetson, you can add your Nano or your Xavier NX. Soon you will have the Xavier NX that is a lot more powerful than the Jetson Nano, and that will make even more special things possible. The Jetson Xavier NX will be out next month in a few days, so that will be a great new addition to the Jetson family.
So just one question about that, the NVIDIA Jetson device. Can you explain a little bit more about what the Jetson device is?
Oh yeah, so we are all talking about CPU in our computers. So the Jetson device is a GPU, a graphical processing unit. So it basically is built to handle graphical information instead of CPU. CPU will get overloaded when you press a lot of image data through it. A GPU can handle that image data. So it is, when you want to do some deep learning applications, you need some GPU power to handle that process. That's the difference between CPU and GPU.
So the Jetson project itself, I mean, like basically NVIDIA makes graphics cards. Everybody's familiar with that, like the 1080s and 1080 Ti's and 2080s and all the graphics cards that drive like client side and gaming applications, right?
Yeah.
The Jetson is the kind of a small version of the larger boards, right?
Yeah, that's the point. The Jetson family is created for people like us all, to make new things happen. So, for example, you have the normal Xavier is more built for autonomous robotic applications. The Jetson Nano is created to insert in a little bit more basic systems. Then you had the TX1, TX2, those are more powerful. And now we're going to have the Xavier NX that will be very powerful in a very small package, ideal to integrate in just about anything.
Does your board support like the Xavier AGX as well?
No, certainly our board is especially meant for Xavier NX. The Nano and the Xavier NX has identical paths and identical connections, except the the Xavier NX has a second PSI connection, and they have CAN bus. So CAN bus is a powerful addition to the Xavier NX board.
All right, thanks.
Very important. Besides all those processing power, it is very important to have a good power input. So when you have a PoE switch from this type of system, then you normally need 48 or 55 volts. So that's not really that practical. So that's why we make sure that those PoE ports work with 24 volts inputs. So that makes it easy to power. Besides that, we added some external power, 5 volts, 12 volts, and 24 volts to connect external sensors. It's always important to have options, so that's why we created external sensing.
What kind of sensors are you thinking about when you guys put those on there?
Oh, you can do just about anything, sound, humidity, level sensors, detecting presence sensing. I can try to inspire your imagination with what type of sensor you would use. For example, you would also be able to use it with microphones, and then you would need to power that microphone array. And in latest part, you will see that we have all the special inputs that are also the GPOs that are also possible to have that input again. Right. So you have the second, you can have it both ways. So we added 4 high power PoE ports. That was very important. Having to power the inputs of 24 volts and having the output of 4 high power PoE ports means that you can even supply a PTZ camera or something else like a PoE microphone array, again, microphone array, or can keep your imagination and see whatever you can power by PoE. Then we added a passive PoE, because many times you want some kind of wireless device, and then you would need a passive PoE port. That passive PoE port is very much important for external connections. We added 3 types of external connection options: the passive PoE, the just network inputs, and on the backside you have the port where we can connect 4G modem or something similar, like a Wi-Fi connection or a 3G connection, depending on where you are in the world. So that makes the logic of connections. Then we added M.2 ports, so we can store some energy or store some analytic data. And then, of course, only for the Xavier NX, the CAN bus, very important. A lot of automation applications have CAN bus on boards, and now you can control that with the Xavier NX. The GPO header is the final point. You can have your normal input outputs by this, but you can also handle I2 modules. You can handle serial connections, and that's important to add your external sensoring. We all know that the camera is part of the detection, so you can use the camera to detect something, you can use sensors to detect something. Here you can combine the 2 together as one. So this is an important part. So what can you do with the boards? We basically created the boards to do special applications, but in network optics case, you can also create basic options. So you can run NX Witness, the NX Witness service directly on the GPUs. So you can, for example, create an edge system just recording on the edge. Plug in the boards, plug in storage, plug in your Wi-Fi or your 4G modem, and you can store that camera or 4 cameras right on the edge.
But just to interrupt real quick, I forgot to say, there is a Q&A on the webinar. You guys can ask questions, and as your questions come in, I can then pass them along to Stefaan.
Oh yeah, very good. So you can always store your imagery on through the storage port. Besides the normal functions, besides the normal NX server functions, you can go on to the next step and use annexmeter to create more special high intelligence options. More about that in a few minutes. We created the boards to fit in the access case. Why did we do that? To create flexibility for everyone. Axis has a very good line of cameras. Axis has a very extended line of cameras, and they have the surveillance cabinets available everywhere in the world. So that makes it easy to integrate our boards in that case for everyone. So now with this case, you can create something like an external communication system remotely on some kind of industrial sites. Like in my example, you have a solar-powered edge system connected with one camera. You have no power near, only have the 24 volts from a solar panel or generator, and that is connected on the edge, connecting to NX clouds. You can do anything. So, Tony,
a couple questions came in, right? So one is, do you have, will you have to store, can you store on this device directly, or do you have to store to a NAS?
I think that I answered that just a few minutes ago. You have the M.2 port, so you can store by a hard drive.
Just one SATA connection, basically?
No, it's not a SATA, it's M.2.
M.2, oh, sorry, the smaller entities. Okay. So there's, and so what's the largest size you can put in there?
I think it's 512
megabytes or gigabytes?
Gigabytes, yeah. So probably terabyte also, but I'm not sure, depending on the speed of that port.
Right.
So.
Okay, so do you have, the other question was, do you have a system diagram that you can share?
I have a system diagram, but at this point we will not share. Okay. It will depend on the future. And in what I just said, we have that housing solution in the access range. And yeah, we can use it as an NX NVR, or as what we are now about to show is a more intelligent analytics for that solution. So I will go on because there are people asking questions and it is important to go on. So the next step is annexmeter. We have the GPU power. So with that GPU power, we can create more unique systems, and with annexmeter we can make that system run especially for your application. For example, we created here, one of my programmers created just a detection system for vehicles running on the Jetson Nano. This is already a very good detection. When you would go to the Xavier NX, it will be even better. It will be even more accurate. And this is already integrated inside annexmeter screen. You see annexmeter on the back.
So this is the just the NVIDIA demo network, right, for vehicle detection?
Correct. So this is an NVIDIA demo image. And this is connected with a camera inside annexmeter. So annexmeter is another level. I will have Tony explain, because Tony is used to explaining annexmeter to everybody. So I will let it over to you, Tony.
Yeah, so just to remind everybody, I mean, annexmeter is what the platform that Network Optix creates to allow people to create what we call powered by NX products. And part of introducing Meta was introducing the Metadata SDK, which is now available in version 4.0, like NX Witness and other powered by NX products. And this is just a general overview of how the Metadata SDK works. You know, basically a third-party technology, computer vision, autonomous robotics, even access control, fire and alarm, point of sale, can all be integrated with the Metadata SDK. And what the Metadata SDK is about is really pulling in metadata from third-party systems and then relating that to the video that's being captured. And the metadata is then stored right next to the video. And so that allows you to do some pretty cool stuff I'll show you in a second. But the Metadata SDK has really kind of 6 basic functions. One is get frames. So it allows a third-party developer to request frames in specific formats, either compressed or uncompressed. And then they can take that image or images that they pulled and then return the metadata that they've created with their analytics. So if they detected a person or they've detected specific objects, they can then send that metadata back to be stored in the archive. It also allows them to create kind of custom events in the system. So for example, again, with Vision Labs, we do like face recognition. So when a face is recognized, that we can get an event from them that says, you know, face recognized. And then actions, custom actions is something that's added into the SDK. So that would allow us to then send an action to that third-party event, or sorry, that third-party service. Streaming real-time data is one that's going to be added to the Metadata SDK. It's really based off use case. But for example, if you've got a temperature sensor or a moisture sensor and you want to bring in kind of real-time temperature and moisture data, then that's something that could be done. And the final kind of bit of it is what we call the plugin settings. It's just a JSON manifest file that basically allows people to dictate how you integrate between NX Meta or powered by NX product and then that third-party solution. So go to the next slide. So here's a little bit of the C++ code samples. Now the Metadata SDK is a C++ SDK. It's not like a REST API with HTTP. And so these are the different types of code samples you have. So you can see for get frames, you've got the uncompressed and compressed frames that you can, formats that you can request. So a lot of different pixel formats. And that's really designed to make it easy for third-party video analytics to do an integration with us, because a lot of times they have different requirements in terms of what types of frames they can analyze. And then the return data just shows you how metadata is sent back to the system. And on the right, you see plugin settings. That's the JSON file we're talking about, where you basically go in and you define what are the things that need to show up inside of NX Witness for the plugin configuration. So go ahead, next slide. So in result, like this is a kind of an idea of things that you could possibly put together. So you can see we've got the system resources in NX Meta, like you do in the all powered by NX products. You've got continuous data graphs, continuous data logs, custom items and actions. Those would be done either via HTTP or using or working with our dev team using like our open source client. And then you can see what the kind of overlays kind of look like. Once everything's been pulled in, on the right panel in 4.0, we introduced the events and objects tabs. And you can see notifications for the different things that are occurring with that third-party solution that's integrated. Go ahead and go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So just getting started with Meta, go to networkoptix.com/meta, and there's a whole how to get started thing you can walk through. You basically got to sign up. It's free. You can begin your development. You can join our early access program to get access to early versions and talk to our team if you need any sort of features that are required. And developing and testing, and then working with us to release your plugin through our Works of the Next marketplace and ecosystem. So I'm going to share my screen real fast, just so these guys, in case they haven't seen it, can see what it looks like in the real world. Give me 1 second.
So basically, this is already what we did, and we created our own plugin.
Yeah.
Make it simple and accessible for everyone. So yeah.
So here's the real world application of it, right? In my office, I've got a camera set up with a face recognition. And if I go over here and I search for me, for example, you can see on the timeline with Smart Search, it kind of works exactly the same way as a motion search works. It highlights the areas where my face has been recognized in the past. And if I click here, I can kind of go back and play the specific events. And there I was feeling really cool and wearing my sunglasses apparently. So this is kind of what it looks like in the real world, and you can even see it in, let's see, real time. If I go to live. You can see it's recognizing me in real time. It's guessing my gender and my age and all that sort of stuff. This is what the implementation of the Metadata SDK actually looks like. All right, so back over to you, Stefaan.
Yes.
There's a couple questions that came in. Are you recognizing any face by looking at a face? Brandon, that's specific to the implementation for Vision Labs. Each facial recognition system kind of works independent of each other. So they all have different functionality. Stefaan, you want to share your screen again?
For some reason I can't. Just a moment. I don't have Zoom at this point for some reason.
You lost it on your desktop?
Oh, yeah. Got it. All right. So this to wrap it up, this is basically what we did. We signed up. We started reading the codes. We found out it was pretty easy. And we just did some basic detection. We let it run on the Jetson Nano on the boards, and then we just started. This is a representation of what we did, and anybody can basically make a plugin and make it work. So it's just a matter, as I already said, of using your imagination. Whatever you want to detect, you probably can do it yourself. If you cannot do it yourself, people like us can do it for you. It doesn't really matter what you want to detect. It's just making sure that your programming is run. Our board on itself, we launched a public relation Kickstarter just for the fun of it. That makes sure that we want to make sure that everybody can have access to something like this. So that's why we created this Kickstarter. After the Kickstarter, even when it fails or not, you will have the option to buy the system online. And in a later stage, you will see that there will be solutions based on that board, ready off the shelf, depending on the solutions we can create for you. So that's basically how we work and what we did now and what we will do in the future.
So when is your board going to be available for people to purchase?
I think it will be May or June. We have to wait until the Kickstarter campaign is over now. But we can also, we can already start processing questions and ideas and things like that. So yeah.
So it's going to be ready as soon as the Kickstarter is over?
Yeah. That's
which is in a couple weeks.
I think within the next month, yes.
Okay. All right. Questions, everyone. Let's see. So you send this video stream to AeyeQ board, and then AI can send metadata synchronized videos. Is correct, Brian. So Brian, you take the carrier board, you grab the Nano or soon the Xavier NX. You all integrate it all into the same board. Add your hard drives and your storage. And then you install NX Meta or another powered by NX product, the server application. Actually, the client will work on the same device as well,
Yeah.
but we, it's typically used for more of a server application.
Yeah, you add it as a camera.
Yep. And then once you've got powered by an X product on there, an X Meta on there, then you can then it will go out and detect cameras just like a normal NX system. It'll discover the cameras. It'll manage the recording. You can set up a NAS to connect to it. Then you would have to add a analytic to the board. So there's a question earlier about are there any analytics that are ready for this board? And the short answer is not really, because most of the video analytics that are out there right now are designed to either run in the cloud or on a specific set of hardware with a lot of GPUs.
Yeah.
That being said, a lot of the AI companies that are doing face recognition and things like that are porting their neural networks to the ARM platform because of solutions like the AeyeQ board and the NVIDIA Jetson ecosystem. So there's going to they're going to see, I think by the end of this year, a few different solutions that'll be out there ready to go for this board. Like Stefan said, he's already got the NVIDIA demo networks running on that board, integrated with the Metadata SDK. So
Tony, it's a matter of the chicken or the egg. What comes first?
You need hardware to run the software, and then it takes some time for the software to catch up to the hardware that's created for it.
So basically created the hardware. The software will be around very soon, and we already are developing things ourselves with a good Belgium AI company. So we can already create just about anything you can dream of.
And so then is the AeyeQ plugin available? Stefan and I were talking about that just before we started the webinar.
It will be available soon, but our goal with the AeyeQ plugin is creating basic things and not production environments software. So we are a hardware company, and we will create solutions. At the end, the plugin is not really the idea to distribute everywhere, but we will distribute as an example.
And then Wade, you asked about the presentation. Yeah, we're going to put the video up. We record all these webinars; they'll be online, and then we'll put we'll send you over a copy of the presentation, Wade, so you guys can take a look at it.
Very good. All right.
Are there any other questions?
No, that's very good.
I think everybody understands your technology, Stefan.
Very good.
Yeah, guys, all you guys out there that do make kind of a hardware and software combined solutions, this is a very interesting device that Stefan and these guys have come up with, and the fact that it fits right in the Axis case is very interesting, because it lets you guys really create custom solutions out there with the analytics kind of all in one. And one of the challenges that I see right now with the video analytics and combining them with video is, like a lot of you guys are familiar with out there, when you have new analytics that come out or new technology like the analytics, one of the challenges is what hardware do I need to run this analytic, right? And by providing kind of a standardized board for this, it really makes it a lot easier to kind of dial in the analytics by working with partners and figuring out what's the capacity of this device in terms of like the number of channels it can do analytics on. So I'm assuming, right, with your design, Stefan, you guys planned for the ability to kind of do 4 cameras. Is that right?
So at this point, the Nano can handle 8 cameras with deep stream, but really it can't. So in theory it can, but in practice it is not.
They're underpowered, right?
It's underpowered. With the Nano, with Xavier NX, the mini version of the Xavier, it will be possible to handle more than 8 analytic types at the same time. Yeah. And those are the only 2 boards that we have at this point. I expect that NVIDIA will expand the Jetson with other types of nano similar devices with the same connection. So I expect in the future that even more things will be possible.
So just to answer Nathan's question really clearly, Nathan, it's the Nano and then the Xavier NX. Paulo, you're asking how many cameras. So the board was designed for 4 cameras with analytics running on it, right?
Yeah.
I just went over that. So
Uh, Basically, the idea is to have it on the edge. So it's not the point to have it somewhere in the main room and distributed. It is intended to be on the edge. That's the goal of the entire device.
all right. Any more questions, guys or ladies? All right. Oh, any plans for an RX2, TX2?
No, TX2 is, I consider it
Almost
already.
deprecated, right? At this point?
At this point, if you compare the two together, you will see that the TX2 is kind of getting back. I'm not sure what the official statement of NVIDIA will be or is, but I see the connection type, the 260 pin connection of the Nano being the future, because that is very easily to integrate. And the TX2, I see more going backwards than going forwards. So yeah, I am not sure about the TX2.
Michael, you asked to will work with Wave Spectrum, and we spoke about this earlier. Basically, any powered by NX product is built on NX Meta. So if NX Meta can run on a device, then all the powered by NX products out there also will work on the same device.
So this is, I think this is a good question. So everything that is connected to Hanwha and there's the Wave and other rebrands are also able to work with this annexmeter part?
Yep, everything that is built off of NX Meta, all the powered by NX products, NX Witness, and all of our partner solutions.
All right.
They all have the same exact code base. So like if one of them can run on something, then the other ones can also run on it. So
very good for Hanwha customers also. So yeah, that's a great thing.
I mean, that's the whole power of what we're trying to do here at NX with the whole powered by NX and the works with NX ecosystem is really provide a platform for companies to create kind of custom solutions down the stream, right? So the ability to create custom hardware and software solutions that are with custom analytics on them. Where can you find the current solutions of NX Meta? I'm not sure what that question means.
I think the NX Meta login page and details would be ideal. I'm not sure.
If you go to networkoptix.com/NXMeta, then you can find out more information about how to sign up for Meta access, and then learn a little bit more about what powered by NX solutions are. Can I receive some email or data sheets or presentation with this board? Yeah, just contact Stefaan at info@IOOS, and he'll be happy to send you all the data that you need, I'm imagining.
Perfect.
Any more questions, guys? All right. Will they be at ISC from Carrie? Are you guys going to be at ISC?
I'm not, I didn't think about that yet, so maybe.
Possibly, but with the coronavirus, maybe not, right?
It's far from here, so no problems here. All right, so I will check if that is possible. Seems fun.
All right, well, I think we're done, guys. So a little quicker than normal webinar today, only 38 minutes.
Very good.
But it's a pretty straightforward, pretty simple solution. Stefaan, thank you for sharing.
All right.
Really
so
interesting stuff.
If there are any questions or any ideas that you need to share or want to share, you can just contact us on the data that you see on your screen. And yeah, we can work out the solution for you.
And again, this presentation will be available on our YouTube channel. And we'll anybody who wants to copy the presentation, feel free to email me, tluce@networkoptix.com, and I'll get you back a copy of the presentation. And we'll go from there.
Perfect.
All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you again, Stefaan. Enjoy your evening, and thank you everybody for attending.
Enjoy your working day.
Reach out with any questions, and we'll see you guys the next webinar. Thank you, everybody.